them to really shine. If they're going to beat some SEC teams, Swan's going to have to figure it out. And beating a better team on paper than you is a good step.
Well, and speaking of being better than what you've shown so far, Shade, Ball State at Georgia. It opened 42 points. Now it's 42 and a half.
Yeah.
This may get to 44 by kickoff here. But, anything you really want to see from Georgia, I think it goes without saying we want to see them be a lot more efficient right out the gate. To me, it's about Carson Beck, getting him rolling, getting his momentum going with these new receivers, new targets.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that cleaned up, but again, it's very hard to learn anything at Georgia.
Yeah,
hosting Ball State,
Yeah, no, obviously, they played Kentucky tough. I will give them that. So I'm not saying they're a pushover by no means, but if Georgia loses this one again, the shaven bet is still on. You know what I'm saying? We'll still go with it. I don't think it's going to happen, but might as well since they're playing all the teams in the SEC right now. But, brother, I just want to see a efficient game, obviously, but like you said, out of the gate, there was a lot of stupid 3-and-outs that this team should never have.
Right.
You should look at these drive charts, and every one of them end in a touchdown or field goal or a touchdown. I mean, let's just
against this competition.
Absolutely. That's what this fan base wants. That's what you and I want, because a lot of people have, and it's crazy. A lot of people after week one, we do this overreaction. They're talking about Bama winning a national championship. They're talking about some of these other teams, they're pumped up on Aggies and all these other conferences, Florida State, crown them and shit like that, But a lot of people are still, I don't know about Georgia. I mean, it's never been done 3 times in a row, and I'm not saying there was any doubt planted last week, but there was no confidence either, And you do that with Beck coming out here looking like a seasoned vet. This offense looking like seasoned vets, defense doing what they do and just shut down Ball State. They should never cross the 50-yard line. Just play a good game, play a Georgia game. Don't play with your food. Get out here and just kick ass and try to stay healthy.
Yep. All right. How about your Mizzou Tigers, hosting MTSU? Just got their ass kicked by Alabama. Mizzou opened as a 17-point favorite. It shifted. 20.5-point favorite. Now the money's coming in. All Mizzou, brother. So what will you be looking for from your Mizzou Tigers here?
A continuation of last week. Now, I do think we put a little bit of that quarterback controversy to bed, which is fine. I still do think we see Sam in there at the end of this game because I think we're going to have enough points for it. But keep the running going.
Yeah.
Keep Schrader going. Build that confidence with the offensive line. That's going to open up opportunities for Brady. The defense, just keep doing your thing. Just come out here and swarm all over them. Just beat the shit out of them. You do that 2 weeks in a row, they're going to start talking about you, and they're not right now. And it kind of pisses me off a little bit because even the AP poll didn't even receive votes. It's like they don't think you belong. Well, you come out and you just keep killing teams. Do it quicker this time. Don't start out as slow as we did last week. Then all of a sudden, Mizzou's going to get that top 25 talk again.
I think I would rather be unranked if I'm a Mizzou fan. Keep playing that disrespect card till Kansas State, till LSU. Matchups like that.
I get that. But we watched all these teams play, and I looked at the teams that were in the top 25, and I'm watching Mizzou. They're a top 25 team. So I get the respect card and everything, but they should they should be earning that. And if they would have played a little bit better last week, I think they would have gotten some votes for sure. But this week, if you come out and you're up 20, 30 points by half or third quarter, people are going to start talking about you. They're going to say, hey, Mizzou's the real deal. So,
right.
Not just Cousin Shane's talking about them now.
Now, Shade, we don't have to spend a ton of time breaking this game down, but Furman at South Carolina. I don't know. Before we get to that, after the week 1 game, North Carolina defender came out and said, I could obviously tell when they were going to pass. They don't hide it. You can tell when they wanted to pass, and so they showed everything that we learned in the film room. So being able to exploit that and being able to expose those weaknesses and focal points of their offense, it was very satisfying. Now, keep in mind, North Carolina hired Freddie Kitchens, who's on staff with South Carolina. Beamer responds to that here in a second, but man, it's hard to believe they didn't change their cadence and things of that nature. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that may have been part. I mean, 9 sacks. That's hard to overlook.
Well, it is, and Beamer needs to just not have comments. I mean, right now, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy bitching about the chain gang eating hot dogs and stuff like that.
Well, he says, Shane, they told me verbatim that's what they were doing. They were eating hot dogs.
Oh, I heard. But that didn't, cause you all those sacks and tackle for losses. So clearly there was something being tipped off, and I'm not saying there was any cheats in the house, but the adjustments. One thing I always liked about Beamer, it seems like we've had some pretty good adjustments throughout the game. And that was the one red flag I had during this North Carolina game. It seems like we didn't, and I'm not saying that he didn't try to change anything or adjust something, but whatever was working for North Carolina, especially that defense. But, looking into this game, because North Carolina's done. You can't get that one back. We can't. I hate that I'm wearing this Tar Heel blue while I'm saying this, but it's like you snap and clear. You move forward. You come out here and you work on what you are struggling at, which was rushing, which was defending, at the line of scrimmage. Work on those pieces, and we'll be fine. I kind of hate that South Carolina didn't get a game like Furman right out of the gate, because I really think they needed it with all these new faces.
Well, he also said Juice Wells is going to play. He said, don't you dare think of not playing me. So that'll be good. But I was a little concerned, Shane, because he's out here piping up the number 6 team in the FCS.
Have to get better, and we will. Starts this week, has already started when we came in here on Sunday, and then with practice that we had this morning as well. And we have to be a lot better against a really, really good Furman team. Now, if you actually study the game of football and know what you're talking about and watch football, this is a hell of a football team coming in here this weekend. And that's not coach speak. Shane's trying to rally the guys on Tuesday. This is a team that has won 8 out of their last 9 games. Their only loss was a 3-point loss in the playoffs last year. This is a team with 18 returning starters. This is a team that every single starter on their offense or defense, except for 2, is a junior, a senior, or a graduate. So these guys have played a lot of football. They are ranked in whatever they are this week in the ranking 6, I think, in the FCS, 6th in the country as well in FCS. They led the nation last year in takeaways. I'm sure you guys knew that. So nobody created more turnovers than their defense did last year. We were pretty good on defense. I think we had 24 that we created last season, and we were second in the SEC. These guys created 29. They had 6 the other night, 6 turnovers in their game. And then they also led the nation in block kicks. So we pride ourselves on playing good special teams around here. They blocked more kicks than anybody in the country last year as well. And then you say, well, that's great and all, but you're an SEC football team, and we are. But these guys also went to Clemson last year, outgained them in total offense. Furman's quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, went 31 of 40 against Clemson last season. Rushed for over 100 yards against Clemson. Held Clemson to under around 150 yards of rushing, and held Clemson to 7 points in the second half. So they won't be wide-eyed coming in here on Saturday night. So if anybody thinks that's the case and that this is a take-a-breath week, you're sorely mistaken. Us, our team, fans, this is a really good team coming in here, and we need to play really, really well. But confident.
All right, buddy. So you buying it? Furman is this a trap game here?
Hell no, man. This is not. And I don't know if he's pumping them up more so that he can.
They beat Tennessee Tech 45-10 last week.
Yeah, but Mercer won week 1 too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if this is just kind of getting, people back on their side. Like, when we beat this team, you'll see we're back. We're fine. We're okay. I don't know if that's the mentality, but I kind of hate this. I hate kissing ass of other programs, especially when they're inferior opponents, which Furman is. There's no reason. I don't want to look back and it's third quarter and this is a ball game because I'm going to think of shit comments like this. I'm going to say, Beamer, golly, what are you doing? Eating hot dogs at half? What's going on here?
And one other thing, I mean, obviously a lot of questions he got about the offensive line.
Yeah.
Can they get it corrected? There's players out. Really bad news because one of their linebackers is out for the season. Yeah, Mo Kaba, Shane, out 2 years in a row now due to injury. So that was a tough one. But the offensive line, I did like this comment, Shane, from Beamer. He's showing confidence in his guys here. He says, you better get your shots in while you can because we're going to be one hell of an offensive line by the end of the season.
Today, just what did you see from the offensive line group in particular as they seem pretty eager to try and figure this out and your faith in them to be able to accomplish that?
Yeah, my faith in the offensive line is high. I thought they were really good today. We face a good defense each day in practice, we feel like, and they're throwing a lot at us. And I thought the whole team came out there with a good temperament about themselves and eagerness to get back out on the field. And nobody feels good about Saturday night as well. Confidence in them is high. We've got good players. I've seen that. This is not me seeking comfort, but the truth is Jalen Nichols was going to be a starting offensive tackle for us. Case and Henry started the game the other night. Both those guys are out right now. We lost 3 starters off last year's offensive line. So we've got a lot of new faces, and it's 5 guys that have to come together and gel, and it just doesn't happen like that, particularly when you have injuries like we've had with Marquis and Ja'Kai Moore was kind of banged up throughout the summer, so he was limited in what he was able to do early on. So those guys will be fine. I got total confidence in them, total confidence in our offensive line, coaching, everything. So I know everybody right now, they're the easy targets to get, to criticize the offensive line. Well, get your shots in now is what I would tell people. And then when they start playing their ass off as this year goes throughout the season, make sure you're giving them credit too as the year goes on also. Excuse my language. My kids are going to be mad at me now when I get home. So I'm trying to be better with HELL and that as well. So I'm off to a bad start also.
Shane, Beamer, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't fight us. Us dumbass media people. Don't. It's not worth it, Just do the Saban approach,
Right.
Like, just do your job. Come out here. You had a bad game.
Yeah.
But when you start worrying about what people are saying about you, that's terrible. That's just, I don't know how to word it. It's just, I want him to stop. I wish I could. I hope he's listening to this one because clearly he watches all these shows. Turn us off. No, don't listen to us. We'll praise you when you do good. We're going to kick you when you do bad. You did bad last week. Go out there. Let the football games dictate what we're talking about the next Wednesday or Thursday when these shows are coming out. So yeah, it's just I that's the one thing that drives me nuts about Beamer. And he's again, he's a little younger than most of the coaches and stuff like that. He doesn't like when people are talking bad about him, but that's why I don't read YouTube comments, because I know there's some bad ones out there. I let Mike filter through them. And I think one of the best ones was, what'd they say? 2 plumbers. That was my favorite one that you sent to me. Was that a Florida State guy?
Of course. That's all our mentions are right now is Florida State people.
These 2 plumbers talking college football.
Well, Shane, we may not want Beamer to listen to that, but we do want him. Listen to this, brother. We're brought to you by MyBookie. Head on over to mybookie.ag today and use that promo code, SEC. That's THAT SEC, and sign up using that promo code, Shane. They'll give you a 50% instant deposit match today, up to $1,000. So you could be having $2,000 in your account, or it was 50%.
No, here we go,
1,500, right? You can have $1,500 in your account today, and hey, as long as you fade our picks, I mean that's about as close as a winner as you're going to get on the internet here. So join MyBookie today. New users, promo code that SEC. This will tremendously help out the podcast. If you're on the fence, MyBookie, fast payouts, legal all across the United States. Head on over to mybookie.ag today, and don't forget that promo code that SEC. There's a link in the show notes for you to sign up.
I'm 0-4 on locks, Mike. 0-4. We talked about this $200 or $400 scenario.
Yep.
You'd be up to $10,000 right now. I mean, you could almost buy a small house. Well, not these days, but maybe a garage or something. You know what I'm saying? We had one send us a koozie pick from Puerto Rico. I think that's what he did. He did three of my locks, and he got the hell out of this country, man. I mean, this could be you. So jump on there to MyBookie and start fading the Shane. Hey, we'll talk, we'll have fun, but if we could do it and you make money in the process, it's a pretty good day.
Yep. And we're also brought to you by Game Time Sidekicks. Check out this cup from Cousin Shane here, Joe Milton,
Look at that.
NIL edition over at Game Time Sidekicks, and the promo code SEC will get you 20% off your entire order over at Game Time Sidekicks. They've got every SEC school represented, every Power 5 program represented. Shane, in case you want to troll one of your cousins that's doing it wrong and not supporting the SEC, they got you covered over at Game Time Sidekicks. And don't forget that promo code at the checkout, SEC, will get you 20% off your entire order. This is officially licensed NCAA memorabilia, and this is a small company, help a small business, help the podcast by heading over to Game Time Sidekicks and using that promo code SEC for 20% off your entire order. And
I'm drinking out of the Joe Milton cup, and I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep drinking the Kool-Aid until he loses one for me. So, but you help him out because what I like about it is there's a couple other players on there for name, image, and likeness. So if you want to help not only the pod, but you want to help the kid out, get him a little money in his pocket, support, get over there. These guys got some fantastic products, Mike.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. How about Florida playing McNeese? They better win. McNeese lost to Tarleton State.
Tarleton?
I think. Tarleton. I don't know. 52-34 last year. So this is a gimme right here, right? But Billy facing tough questions in by the media already. They'll eat you alive down there in Gainesville,
Yep.
Shane, if you don't win. What concerned him the most about week one, and why didn't he have his team more ready to play? I mean, these are not the questions that coaches want right out the gate.
You mentioned not wanting to waste any time here. Is there a level of concern at all about when it comes to honing in on fundamentals and execution, just now that the season's here, now that you have to dedicate so much time to studying the opponent?
Yeah, I think the big issue for me is the self-inflicted wounds, right? I think Gators beat the Gators in a lot of ways. Not that Utah wasn't deserving to win, but we like to say we like to control the things that we can control, and we didn't necessarily do that. Red zone miscues, protection issues. We had a few plays on special teams that were significant in the game. So I do think that there were some positives that came out of the game. I do think we took a step forward on defense. I do think that we're close in a lot of ways. We got some really good play from some individual players on special teams and offense. But there's work to be done for sure.
Do you feel like, as a coaching staff, that you had the team prepared to play because of the procedural issues? It seems like maybe just first game jitters, though.
I do. I was surprised by that, to be quite honest. We had played pretty clean football. Scrimmages, practice setting. We'd done quite a bit of significant crowd noise work, So those were surprising. I mean, I really felt confident our team was ready to play. But, you watch a weekend of college football, you see a lot of success, but you also see a lot of struggle. So The key to the drill here is how we respond and how we adapt, right? And that's not just coaches, that's individual players. And I think this group is ready to do that.
Okay, I don't know if that's the right answer. All right, I mean, clearly, not ready against Utah, Shane, which was down so many players. I mean, we can only say the same thing so many times, but
I said that after our first live show. We got done like, were you really ready for that?
but I don't know, Shane. I mean, it's not exactly what I want to be hearing from my head coach, and which got 200 assistants,
Yeah, and I don't know if there really is right words for this. At this point, I'm not burying Billy. But, I heard on Feinbaum earlier today, he made a great point. He says, the rebuilds need to be immediate. This isn't, you're not building a skyscraper, what he said.
Right.
That's what we all expect, and not just expect, demand. When we hired Billy to begin with, was to go to places like Utah and beat them. It wasn't in 2 more years, we'll be there. No. Yeah. Because in 2 more years, you won't. So I think the talking's over, talking season's over, and coming out here, there's nothing Billy was going to say that I was just going to walk away and say, you know what? Look, we're going to be all right. You got to start putting some games together. You got Tennessee right around the corner. You're not prepared for the Vols. You prepare for the Vols for games like this one, McNeese State. This should be the reason that you should watch this game, because if there's mistakes into this one, it may not affect the box score, but it will when you play SEC opponents. So if we're still seeing stupid mistakes along the way, Florida Gators are in trouble. But if they clean it up, keep the penalties down, don't miss stupid assignments, then we can say, you know what? They have a shot to beat the Volunteers.
And the only unfortunate thing about this week, Shane, I mean, McNeese, this is a pick-your-score game. They should win by like 60, 70 points. But it's almost like a no-win situation because that's the expectation. Mm-hmm. And God forbid it's, 17-0 at halftime.
Right.
Like that's the whole nation's going to be laughing at the Florida. I mean, there's pressure, I think, a little bit to kind of come out here and blow the doors off McNeese, which is what we're all expecting. And that's why I think it's almost like a no-win situation because there's nothing you can do this week that is going to make up for last week. You know what?
Yeah, and you gotta, again, the locker room too. You gotta please everybody. We joked the other week when Etienne's brother tweeted out, about him going to Colorado because Prime will play him. You know what I'm saying? Like Billy may not care about that comment, but Etienne does. You know what I'm saying? And Etienne wants to play in the NFL. You can't do that if he has no opportunities to carry the ball.
Yeah.
So what does it look like at the end of the season? Yeah, you may find your way through the year and maybe even make a bowl game, but do you think some of these kids are going to stick around and not get showcased like they think they should? Or these recruits that that's where everybody says, hey, the recruit's coming in. Well, if the recruits are seeing the players not getting the playing time they deserve, then they're not going to come in. So
right.
McNeese is a pivotal game because just like I said earlier, it's kind of an opportunity to get back to the roots of what you want to do moving forward. If it is to let Mertz throw 1,000 times a game, but then keep doing it,
Right.
But kiss the running backs goodbye because nobody's going to want to play with you.
Yeah. Another one, pick your score type game. Shane, Grambling at LSU. Grambling lost to Hampton last. Not a great program, but this is like the $1 million question right now in Baton Rouge. What the hell are they doing with Harold Perkins? He was a complete non-factor in the Florida State game, how they utilized him. Yeah. What is the plan moving forward?
Film as far as Harold Perkins' performance, can this team afford to not have him see ball, get ball?
Well, certainly a question that we have talked about. There's a lot going on, and you could clearly look at Harold and what he's asked to do versus, lining him up off the edge. player development has to be thought about. Where he goes at the next level has to be thought about, and then impacting our team. So I think that there's a happy medium there that we could probably strike, and we've already begun to look at how we can be most effective for Harold and for LSU.
One of the best rushers in the country. Let's just not let them.
Yeah, here's the thing, Shane. Maybe this is something Harold Perkins is demanding. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, Shane, in the NFL, who gets paid more, middle linebackers or edge rushers that get to the quarterback? I mean, it's 99 out of 100. It's the edge rusher.
That's where you want to be.
So I don't understand this at all, and this has got to get fixed. And this has been an issue. After the Tennessee game, when they got their ass whooped by Tennessee, Perkins didn't play, Shane, because they said, well, we had to be a nickel, and we couldn't keep him on the field because we had too many defensive backs. And they said, well, you better switch that fucking defense. And they switched it. And the rest is history. They have got to – I think they got to abandon this because this is garbage. We just had a nationally televised game with our best player made no impact because of the position they're putting him in.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And that's philosophy 101 in college football. You get your best 11 out there and you put them in the best opportunities to make an impact for your team. And that's why we were so frustrated with the LSU game.
Yeah.
Florida State wasn't just abundantly better than LSU. It's just they played better, and I think that's where we're scratching our head at the end of like Brian Kelly is a Hall of Famer coach. This is a guy that is one of the top winningest coaches to ever do it. And he doesn't accidentally do that. It just kind of, I don't know, blows my mind that we were in this situation to begin with. You got a dude like Perkins. He should be you do whatever Perkins wants to do. If Perkins wants to be on the edge, you put his ass on the edge and you let it work. I don't care what formation you're in. Let's get some pressure on the quarterback because that's what he's really good at doing.
Yep. Two cupcakes to close out here, Shane. Austin Peay at Tennessee. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for from your Vols this weekend?
Stay healthy. First one, and then again, I know it's Austin Peay, but I want to see some downfield shots. We got to see a little bit of it, but it just seems like Tennessee just wasn't in sync with Virginia. Mm-hmm. With the Florida Gators right around the corner, you're gonna have to have that dialed in. So, yeah, let's let Joe have some fun out there. And more importantly, let's get Nico out a little bit sooner. You do that by putting a lot of points up early. So I don't know if that's what Heupel wants, but that's what Volunteer fans want.
Yeah, I want to see the defense do it again, be dominant, even at obviously a lesser opponent than last week. Mm-hmm. But if they dominated Virginia, they should be able to dominate this team, keep that momentum going into the Florida game because maybe this is a lockdown type defense. They got to continue that and play a lot of guys and show that. I want to see some of the young players in the secondary, particularly the freshmen. I'd like to see them get some action in this one. And I think the key to the season, Shane, and I get it, Nico, Milton, and these receivers, but I think Tennessee, they're only going to go as far as they can run the ball.
Yeah.
And that was critical in the Virginia game. Once they got the running game going, it opens up everything else. Because I don't think Joe Milton, I think he can be a really good player, but I don't think there's many games where they're just going to say, this is on you, Joe.
Yeah.
And you got to throw it all over the yard and beat Bama and beat Georgia. I don't think they're going to win that way. I think it's got to be 50-50.
Yeah.
Got to be able to run the ball, and then he's got that massive arm, can throw it over because as soon as those safeties come down, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Because Joe will throw it right over you. So I think that it's critical. Austin Peay, I mean, they should rush for about 300 yards, but I want to see that again. They got to get this offensive line going, heading into that Florida matchup. That's what I'll have my eyes on.
Also, I want to see how they approach that, because we got Jalen right out of the gate, but then it became, I mean, it's a committee.
Yeah.
But all these guys are going to come in, and it seems like they really do play the hot hand here. Do they continue that week 2, or is there going to be a little bit more scripting, trying to get maybe Small involved, or hell, it could really be a 4-headed monster by the time of the end of the season. So Tennessee's loaded back there in the running backs, and I just kind of want to see how that plays out with Austin Peay as well.
Final game, Eastern Kentucky at Kentucky. Shane, Eastern Kentucky, lost to Cincinnati 66-13. So not a great defense here, but what are you be looking for from the Wildcats?
Getting out there early, grab a bite to eat after, I joke. I just, we had a few injuries last week, and some people are blaming that turf up there, so I want to kind of keep an eye on that. But also I want to keep an eye on this offensive line, see how they keep improving, see if Leary gets a little bit more accurate, a little bit, maybe he got the heebie-jeebies out, got those jitters out, so now he can kind of settle into that role. So I'm not expecting a whole lot, obviously, but that's the beauty of Kentucky's schedule. It ramps up slowly, and they're going to have time, but there's a finish date, and when you hit that SEC play, that you can't work it out anymore. So
right.
I feel like this is the last opportunity for a tune-up, if you will.
Right. Yeah, I want to see more consistent offense, like you were saying. Defense scored a touchdown, should have been 2 last week. I want to see that again. This defense flying all over the place, very quick. Barry Brown had him a kick return. I'd love to see another one, Shane. I mean, we could be talking the best kick returner in the SEC. So,
special teams of the week last week was in Kentucky. All the way around.
Right. So, I mean, this appears to be a complete team here. I want to see that should translate to a team like Eastern Kentucky. Should just blow their doors off.
Yeah.
You know what?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be close. So, but again, Leary, I want the confidence. I want the Leary that we were expecting to get week 1. Obviously, we didn't get that. But the more you play, the more chemistry you establish with these receivers, I think we'll be fine in that regard. But it's just the offensive line too. Just I'm not expecting a whole lot from Ray Davis here, but again, similar to some of these other teams we talked about, if Kentucky just wants to run the ball, they should be able to do that against Eastern Kentucky. So I want to see that. I want to make sure that this line's going to be okay.
This should be a game where Mark Stoops' blood pressure does not get as high as it did in the opener. You know what?
It shouldn't, but he was a fiery coach, man. He's been losing weight, so now he's even more feisty on the sidelines. So don't want to beating up a ref or anything.
All right, well, so we went a little long. You got anything before we hop off the line?
No, man. Again, we got a slate of awesome college football coming up this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. So be sure to get all your bets in. We'll be doing picks before you know it. Don't forget, Thursdays are live shows.
Yep.
Sundays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock. So be sure to get on YouTube, subscribe to that, get your notifications on so you can see this mug in live action.
Well, I appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate all the cousins out there. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.